Welcome to 100 Yards Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and today I got my 2023 NFL Draft prospect, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle at the University of Georgia. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate here at 100 Yards Football. And if you want to give us support, please watch the video and love it and give us happiness. And I'd like to thank my producer, Mr. Jeremiah Long, the guy, the savant that makes it happen here on 100 Yards of Football. So, Jalen Carter, University of Georgia, defensive tackle, on the number one team in the country. Make no bones. And I know Georgia has a lot of good players, and Stetson Bennett, Brock Bowers, Donnell Washington, running backs Kenny McIntosh, Kendall Middleton. But make no bones, to me, this young man right here is the best football player on the team. And when you think about the impact of him playing D tackle, now I understand why everybody said that on the Georgia team last year that won the national championship and had those many defensive players that went in the NFL draft from Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Lewis Sin, Quay Walker, Channing Tindall. Now I understand why they said this young man, and Trayvon Walker. Now I understand why they said this young man was the best player on their defense last year. I don't have to say no more. When I think about Jalen Carter, I think about all the great college D tackles that played this game. And I go back to the 1974 Liberty Bowl, Tennessee and Maryland. Tennessee ended up winning that game 7-3, but there was a gentleman by the name of Randy White that dominated that night at the D tackle position. And he puts me in mind in Jalen Carter because he was dominant where he was unblockable, his quickness, and his pure strength for how he played on that field that night. Then I think about all the other great D tackles that's played in this game at a college level that's went on to success. Bubba Smith, remember him, 1966 at Michigan State, dominant. Remember Mean Joe Green in North Texas State. I don't have to say no more with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember Buck Buchanan, that played at Grambling, got his Super Bowl ring in Super Bowl IV with the Kansas City Chiefs. Chester McLaughlin with Clemson. Gary Big Hands Johnson at Grambling. Reggie White at Tennessee. Cortez Kennedy at Miami. See, this young man has got all those special traits to be dominant on the next level. Then I think about the little hometown. I'm not going to pronounce it because I might pronounce it wrong, but he's from out of the same area of Warren Sapp, Sammy Smith, Brandon Merriweather. It's something in the water in that small town in Apagloka. I hope I pronounced it right. But this gentleman is a football player in the skill set. Unblockable. Numerous double teams at the line of scrimmage. A pluses on both of them. Then when you look at elite strength, A plus. Bulldozer, A plus. Pass rushing ability. The chance could rush like a speed in. I'm talking about he's got Khalil Mack and Michael Parsons. But what I like about he's always still at a high level. And he brings production to the dance every time he plays. And he plays in big-time games. See, to me, when you judge an NFL prospect, you can talk about what he does through the season. We could talk about his stats. But what happens when that light comes on? The games really put it in the post to me that Jalen Carter, if I was drafting number one and I didn't need a quarterback, and even then I might trade for a quarterback, to me, he's the number one player in the 2023 NFL draft. And we don't have to sit up here and say all this great skill set abilities, but go back to 3 games, Florida. Didn't make a tackle, but think about the impact he had. He had 1 assist. But I looked at the play, and I saw how he handled Florida's best offensive lineman, Osiris Torrance. He threw him like he was a rag doll. Now, Mr. Torrance is 350 pounds. Then going back to the Tennessee game, we can talk about how well Georgia played offensively. We could talk about Stetson Bennett had a decent game. We could talk about all those other great defensive players played. but he played 46 snaps in that game. He had 4 tackles. He had 1 sack. He had 2 tackles for loss. And make no bones, he was the best player on the field. Then coming back the next Saturday against Mississippi State, he had 6 tackles, 1 sack. And look at the sack, how he went after Real Rodgers, how he threw that offensive lineman. I don't have to say no more about Jalen Carter. The young man, one more time, top end speed at a D tackle, A+. The strength, A+. The desire to be great, A+. With first step, A+. Power to move opponents, A+. Dominant along the line of scrimmage. And it's only a few tackles at the D tackle position that I've seen play well at the high position. See, I had an honor to see Reggie White play his senior year at Tennessee. And I thought coming out of college, he was one of the greatest defensive tackles I ever saw play the game at a high level. I saw Randy White as a 14-year-old up in the stands in 25-degree weather, Tennessee playing Maryland. I saw how Randy White dominated at that level. Then I remember watching Cortez Kennedy playing with the University of Miami, how he was dominant. Then I'm going to throw Warren Sapp in there. Then I saw how Buck Buchanan was dominant with the Kansas City Chiefs on that 1969 Super Bowl team. And then I saw how Bubba Smith was a consensus All-American in 1966, how he was dominant. And all of them had this for us about them. One more time, all of them had this for us about them. Unblockable. The best player on the field. Special. Make no bones. When you think about Jalen Carter, it's no question to me. We can give analysis on all the quarterbacks in the draft, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis. We could talk about the receivers, Quentin Johnson. We could talk about Will Anderson, defensive end at Alabama. But to me, Jalen Carter, hands down, is the best football player in America. And he needs to be in New York, not on his stats, but he needs to be in New York at the Heisman ceremony. He is no question about it. One of the top 4 players in college football, and to me, he's the top NFL prospect in this year's 2023 NFL draft. My final words about Jalen Carter is very simple. Like the great Ray Charles, Georgia, you on my mind. Boy, it's a great time for the University of Georgia. Back-to-back undefeated seasons. Potential number 1 seed going into the college football playoffs. You got the best player in the country. You got the number 1 NFL draft prospect. I'm going to be honest with you. To my friend, Mr. Joseph Taylor, we know him as Joey T, the number 1 Georgia Bulldog fan out there. And to Mr. Donnell Scott, another number 1 Georgia Bulldog fan out there. I'm jealous, but I got a lot of respect for the University of Georgia football program. And to the best coach in all of college football right now, hands down, Kirby Smart. Can nobody carry his shoes? And to the number 1 player, Jalen Carter, in this year's 2023 NFL draft. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate here at 100 Yards Football. Thank you to my special producer. And I want to make it very plain and very simple out there. The reason that we've grown so great over the last 2 years has been because of this young man right here, our producer, having us at a high level, Mr. Jeremiah Long from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm blessed.